I'm not racist, right? But I don't like Nigerians, right? Anthony Joshua's Nigerian, so I don't like him. Simple as. And subscribe and like to the Triple B, because he speaks sense.
Yeah, hello, Wagwan. Shalom, salam. Yes, just a quick video really on Monday. We had the amazing excitement. Her story was made. Serrano and Taylor, damn, I mean, that's just sucked the energy out of me. It was so exciting. But to be honest, it wasn't the worst fight in the world, but it was just, as I said, like two kind of novice amateurs flading away, However, now I was just what videos to make today, and I was thinking about Tyson Fury vs Usyk, Alexander Usyk, as he likes to be called, not Alexander, because that's kind of Ukrainian. I think that's the Ukrainian pronunciation. Was he is actually more from the Russian side of Ukraine. It's complex business, man. Don't believe like nonsense in the newspapers, right? And have you noticed the newspapers as well? Things like, tabloids are awful and you go, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to read them. Yeah, well, a lot of people do. But if I were you, I'd keep an eye on these things because they tell you the fake story, what they want you to think about. Yes, I keep an eye on the nonsense. And the scum, for example, they love it. I mean, they're trying to be, Paul, prayers and thoughts for Ukraine. And then they revel in people getting killed. If someone's certain, oh, look, Russian fighter gets destroyed, missile explodes Russian as he's talking. And, they love it, man. It's just, and they're sick mouthpieces for the elite and they'll just use you. So at this point, the Ukrainians are all poor and innocent and lovely people, and the Russians are all evil, Like I said, they dumb things down, the papers. They especially like to, they make everything out to be Star Wars, good guys vs the bad guys. They don't get into complexity, and that's how they sell their nonsense. Most people fall for it because they're idiots. But don't you fall for it. Anyway, Alexander Usyk vs Tyson Fury. And obviously Tyson Fury says he's retired. Obviously no one believes him either. He may do. He's a kind of, I think he would get bored, definitely, Tyson. And, he might even go up on a big binge. Tyson Fury is quite temperamental, right? So you never really know how he's feeling. And things, how he fights and what he's going to do and how he acts depends on how he's feeling on the day in many ways. Or, in the previous weeks. There's been fights you can see he hasn't really trained for because his head wasn't right and they usually performs badly. But he seems kind of a little bit more on the level than ever before. He's got loads of kids, as we know. He seems to have stuck. Yeah, I'm sure he parties a bit still. He gets on the yayo now and then, but it's not like every single day. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I just don't think he'd be happy being retired. He's still 33, man. I don't know. That's really relatively young. I know he looks old. He looks about 45 to 50 years old, to be honest. If you're describing him in the street and his body, you'd think he was about 45. I think it would be reasonable. But you're 33. I mean, you still got plenty of bounce in yourself at that age. Especially these days, people feel young. Like I said, what do you do with his time, man? What do you do with his time? He's got a bit of a brain. He's not going to sit there watching like awful TV, during the day, Illuminar TV, I should say. He's got time with the kids, but Paris will be looking after most of them as his traditional lifestyle. Yeah, Tyson ain't no house husband type thing. He's not be changing nappers like Coogan. And boasting about it on Instagram. They don't do that, man, in the traveller world. Yeah, the traditional community, and I respect that. Yeah, but yeah, so Tyson, will he come back? I mean, almost certainly. In some guys, there's a lot of people questioning. Well, is he actually retired because of the MTK Daniel Kinahan furore? Yeah, he might have done. But it just didn't seem to affect him mentally leading up to the White fight. No, it didn't seem to get him at all. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but all things considered, he was pretty laid back. You know, and what disassociating from them now? Well, it doesn't really matter now. I mean, if he's going to get investigated, it'll be for past deeds anyway. You know, if there's any suggestion that he's been involved in, I don't know, money laundering or knowing some. Or, I mean, I don't know what happens. What happens if you innocently take money that's money laundered or stolen? I mean, I'm sure there's still a charge there. So I mean, I would be stressed if I was him. But you know, I don't know. Maybe he's sold himself a bit over. Yeah, to the elitists with all his stuff. If you notice how much he's changed and who he doesn't call out anymore, yeah, then he's, in my opinion, been bought now and threatened, both of them, yeah. But you know, Tyson's clever. I'm hoping he's still going to play them, but I at the moment his retirement, like I said, and he said, yeah, I'll do WWE stuff and exhibitions, but. You know, I'm pretty sure he'll want to return back to boxing. Like I said, he already looks old for his age, so I wouldn't hang around too long. But let's just imagine, for the sake of this video, right, that we're saying that he will fight the winner of a gay Usyk. Now, if a gay were to win it, I don't know how he'd be able to resist a comeback. He's always disliked Gay J, yeah, and thought he was rubbish at boxing and mocked him and called him a stiff bodybuilder and that's kind of been shown up by other guys, but you know, I'm sure Tyson would like to put the final nail in the A-Gay coffin, you know, and he'd nail him to the canvas, man. You know, A-Gay would rather cut his, well, I'm not saying he'd rather cut his tool off if he's got a tool, because there are rumours he's into sex anyway. But like, you know, AJ would rather cut a leg off than fight Tyson. I really believe he would, and he knows he'll get humiliated in the ring and in the build-up. All his stupid stay humble stuff will get just torn to pieces, yeah, in the build-up, and in the ring he'd just get outboxed. I mean, there's always a chance at heavyweight, you know, and fights can get old overnight and blah blah. You know, it's not like Joshua has got zero chance, but I mean, come on, man. Especially for Tyson being so confident of being able to beat him up, yeah, and that payday would be massive. I just can't believe he'd be able to refuse. I mean, it would be like 100 million or something payday, something nuts like that. But let's imagine Usyk wins, and most people would say, yeah, he wouldn't, Usyk. He gave a masterful display when they first boxed, and he beat Gay J, and then probably could have stopped him. Some people say he almost stopped him at the end when I think the bell was rung a bit early, but. Yeah, I mean, it's not a given that Usyk will win. Firstly, obviously, what's happening in his own country must be doing his head in. He hasn't been able to train properly for a few months. And you see pictures of him, he looks slim. He looked like the middleweight they all say he is, but I mean, he really didn't look like a heavyweight, you know? He's got to rebuild up that muscle. You know, it took him a bit of time to get that muscle lumped on, you know, and when he moved up to heavyweight. So he's got to do that, and he's got to get fit, yeah? And remember, I mean, the fight hasn't actually been officially named. There's no date. They say it's probably in Saudi, but I don't think there's nothing concrete. But it's not, I would say, Usyk, you know, most people think it's a given that he'll win. I don't believe that's the case. I believe there's always, I think Gay J, I don't think Gay J is going to do anything better, yeah? Will he jump on Usyk and try and get him out? It's possible. That would seem like his best chance certainly to bully him and use his big bodybuilding muscles. They've got to be used for something. And you got to remember, like, in the after the fight, yeah, he didn't hit Usyk a lot, but Usyk's fight was busted up. It was busted up worse than Gay J's, you know? He had a big cut on his head. He was bruised up, you know. He obviously felt the shots. I mean, you can see he's a much, much smaller man naturally, you know. As I said, he boxed as a middleweight in the amateurs. So, you know, it's not a given. It's not a given that Usyk wins. But let's say Usyk wins. What would that fight look like? Tyson Fury and Usyk? Well, I mean, the first thing is I think it would be way, way more enticing for Tyson to fight if Gay J won. I think it would be a better person. He'd love it. He'd see it as an easy fight, and I don't think he'd be able to resist it. If Usyk wins, he'll still be tempted eventually. Maybe not for the moment. I think he wants to leave boxing for a bit, you know? He may even want to, be stripped of his title and then come back and say, I was unfairly stripped and I'm coming back to win it for a third time to prove I'm the best ever, just like Ali. I mean, you know, that's another storyline that would work. You know, if they strip the WBC title and put whoever, I don't know, Joe Joyce fees, I don't know, whoever, you know, they'll find someone else. I mean, the WBC want the sanctioning fees. They're not going to sit there and let the heavyweight title, the most prestigious, richest title, just sit there. So, you know, there's another story there. And let's say they award it to Usyk, or they wouldn't like just award it without a fight. Maybe they might say, oh well, Tyson's retired. We'll give it WBC title to winner of Usyk vs Joshua. I don't know. It depends how much money they're getting. You know, it might make more sense for them to go right. We're actually gonna put the WBC title on Parker Joyce or whatever, whoever, you know, some other fighters. I don't know, man. You never know what's going on. The machinations of these alphabet soup titles. It's all about money, right? They'll justify it in whatever way they want to. But Usyk. So let's imagine that Usyk wins, and Tyson decides, yeah, you know what? I'll take that. You know what? I want to come back. I want another victory there. I'm getting offered 40 million. I'll do that. I want the Undisputed title again, totally Undisputed. So yeah, let's do that. You know, it's pretty easy to see it happening, especially in about a year's time or something. You know, once Tyson's done his beating up Ngubu or whatever, you know, or messed around with WWE. So, I mean, this, you know, in terms of skill, now Tyson's very skillful for such a big man. The timing, yeah, his little feints, the way you just step back that little half step and bang you. He's got very long arms, got a lot of weight on him. Yeah, he's not body beautiful, yeah. But, you know, muscles are not the only thing in boxing. You know, people's going to say, oh, it's not a bodybuilding competition. No, it's not. But muscle tone can give you an indication of someone's fitness. There ain't no fat, flabby or skinny 100 meters runners, are there? You know? you know what I'm saying? You don't get no, you'll get a few chubsters in the heavyweight division because it doesn't really matter about their weight, but it doesn't help them. There's no way that being a fat bugger can help you in any way. You know, Tyson's got all the physical advantages over Usyk. You know, so he alleges to be 6'9". That's nonsense. He's 6'7.5". Truly, people that have been close to him. You look at the people that he's been photographed next to. 6'7.5" is a realistic judgment, but it's still pretty tall. Usyk 6'3", so that's 4.5 inches of height. So and the wingspan, right? Now that's one thing Tyson really has. So if you look at the reaches, right? So Usyk has a reach of 78 inches. Now remember, when we talk about reach, it's fingertip to fingertip, I believe, is how they do it. So that's, I mean, Usyk's got 78 inches, right? Tyson Fury has got 85 inches, and that's regarded as a really, really long reach. Actually, Usyk's reach is longer than the average heavyweight, which is apparently 76.3 inches, if we believe in that. So, you know, he's got a decent reach, Usyk. Like Tyson, obviously, he was a very different physique of heavyweight. He was only like 5'10", had 71 inches, but you know he used that to his advantage by getting it in. But so Tyson's got an extra 7 inches on Usyk. Now that's a lot when he's getting a long jab pumped into his head. You saw against White, for example, Dillian White. It just couldn't. That jab kept on being pumped in his face. Yeah, and he just couldn't get out of the way really, and it gave him a real problem getting inside. When he gets inside, yeah, Tyson would step around or grab him, you know, and you got that huge man leaning on top of you, 275 pounds. What is he? 270 pounds, sorry, or whatever he weighed on the night, but he can be bigger. Leaning on top of you, it'll tire you out, man. You know, a small man like Usyk, you know, I mean Usyk. You can imagine Usyk's going to have a massive disadvantage in weight. I mean, Usyk, he weighed, 220 or something for Joshua? And, you know, Tyson varies, but let's say he's 270. That's 50 pounds of weight. I mean, that's just massive. To have leaning on you, pushing you around, tiring you out, you know. And he'll have to get in there, Usyk, yeah. And once he's in there, he'll get muscled around. And Tyson's inside game is not bad. We also saw the uppercut that ironed out Dillian. It wasn't so much an inside shot, but you know the uppercut's a classic inside shot. And you know, I have to be honest. I mean, Tyson for his size is super skilled, but the size is going to be the big difference. Usyk's skill would not be able to overtake that. He'll land a few shots, a few more shots than Dillian, obviously, but I think he will be pushed around, bullied, lent on. Those jabs are going to be bang, bang, and a few right hands are going to bust up his face, Usyk. And I think Usyk will get stopped. Yeah, I think he'll get battered, and he might have one or two moments where he lands some good shots. I mean, he's still a good fighter, but he won't be able to deal with his size. And those big, those long arms and big fists of Fury are going to hit the target, and they're going to bust up his face. I think Usyk will be stopped in the later rounds. 8, 9, 10, something like that. That's what I think will happen with a bust up face. And obviously he's a gutsy guy, but I don't know, man. Would he get knocked out? When he stayed on his feet, it doesn't matter. He'll be bust up anyway. He'll be bust up. And that'll be another Tyson victory, if that fight happens, of course.